So let's roll Jimmy Harding. He's got an incredible story. You're going to find out how he's built a couple $18,000 a month businesses, well on his way to a seven-figure Main Street business. Incredible guy, like I say, just rose from the ashes in a very short period of time. Very non-technical guy. He did it anyway, and let's just roll it. Hey, this is super exciting. My first guest is Jimmy Harding from New Orleans. He's actually a Main Street Marketing Machines Fusion member, and he actually found out about us, he found out about me, through the Money Masters program, which is an interview series that Tony Robbins did with a bunch of other internet marketers, including myself. And this is actually an idea that I brought to Tony along with Pam Hendrickson some time ago. That's a longer story in itself. I really want to bring it back to Jimmy here. But he's got a remarkable story about how he has built a business inside a business that already has pushed him to what we call all-star status, which means he's in the multiple six-figure space already in under a year, which is an amazing, astonishing achievement. So thanks a ton for being here, Jimmy, and making time for us.
Thanks, Mike. It's just a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be, to share my story and share some techniques and see if it will help some other folks achieve the type of success that I've been able to achieve. And I'm just really grateful to be here.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we were just talking off camera about some of the things that you've got cooking, including you've expanded your niche from focusing on the construction worker market. Now you're working with authors, expert speakers, celebrities, and up-and-coming celebrities, which is really cool. So, you're building a real platform for yourself, which is another topic altogether. But let's get to the point of how you're using Instant Customer right now, and maybe Tarantino this, which is just tell the end of the movie first, which is how much revenue, income, money are you making using this one strategy that you're using Instant Customer with?
Great. Right now with this one strategy, we're grossing $18,000 per month, which is actually a $15,000 gross profit before we do our revenue splits.
Okay. And inside of that, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about how this little business works and how you came up with it?
Okay, great. I heard it's a niche where we market and we do kind of a Groupon type of thing with a deal of the day, and we do it at colleges. I heard several different people talk about it and explain it in different ways, and I took a piece of everybody's thing and I put it together into something unique that I thought would really work. I just kind of modeled what was out there and tweaked it, and what we ended up doing was I wanted to do a deal of the day for food for college students and a deal of the day for alcohol.
Okay, so it's basically like a Groupon model.
Yeah,
but it's rolled your own. Okay, yeah. So how does it work?
So what we do is we go to the college and we get a bunch of people to opt into a list. We put up poster boards in the quad, and we take out a school newspaper, and we just have a couple of kids, talk to people. A couple of the students talk to people and get them to opt in. And actually at each university, I find someone to manage that program. So it's their program, and we're also creating an entrepreneur in the meantime that doesn't have to take out student loans or drain their parents.
Okay,
so anyway,
and let me stop you for a second to make sure I understand how this whole thing works. So basically what you've got is you've set up a instant customer campaign where people can opt in by texting their name and email address to a phone number, and in exchange for that, they're going to get a restaurant deal of the day and a bar deal of the day. Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how does this work then with the restaurants and the bars? How are you making the money?
Okay, so what happens now is we have a very specific and highly targeted niche who raised their hand and said, hey, I want a deal of the day. So we took that information to the bars and the restaurants, and we charged those guys $300 a piece each.
Okay, so you're getting 30 restaurants and 30 bars, and each of them pay you, so you have a total of 60 people paying you $300. Is that right?
Correct, for one university.
So that's 18 grand right there.
Right.
Okay, great. So just so I'm clear, so on the student side, you've got a list of students who say, I want this, and which are basically ready-made customers who want to buy food and alcohol, go out and drink. And then on the other side, you've got the bars and restaurants who say, I'd like to provide a product, or I've got a product for these kids. So you're responsible for sending out a coupon, basically, or an offer every day, and you can schedule this ahead of time. I assume you can do all of it all at once, so it's basically set it up once and it runs all by itself every month, right?
Absolutely, because everything's set up, and pre-scheduled. It's not, it's not like you're in there every day putting in, an offer for a restaurant and a bar. Everything's pre-set up. Setting up the campaign took about 10 minutes, and setting up the, all of the information, takes a couple of hours. So,
okay. So the bottom line is probably about a half a day of labor, and you're grossing 18,000, you're netting about 15 before your revenue shares, as you were saying, and
Yes.
you're providing jobs for some college kids, so they don't have to take out student loans or tap their parents for their college education.
Absolutely.
So you're in the entrepreneur creation business as well, then, right?
I am.
Okay.
I am. You're my hero on that.
Oh, thanks. So, just again, it's a genius model. Obviously, it's replicable. Now, do you have this going right now once, or do you have multiple businesses like this so far? Are you just about to roll? What's your plan?
Right now, we have 2 universities.
Okay. So you basically have 2 $18,000 a month revenue streams coming in?
Correct.
Wow. It's amazing. And how much are you paying the college kids to manage and handle this for you? Because obviously you've got kids on the street. Are they also selling the restaurants and the bars into the program, or are you doing that?
No, absolutely. No, they're doing everything. All I do is train them.
Wow.
Okay. And I have it set up where each guy out there gets 30%.
Okay.
That runs each university. He gets 30% of that 15,000.
Wow.
So then I have another.
So these guys are making basically $5,000 a month.
Correct.
For something that's
Exactly.
taken just a few hours of work. And is this residual for them too? As long as they keep on working with you, they're going to get that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, it's lifetime residual for them. Whether, as long as they stay, they're going to continue to get that.
It's a brilliant business model.
And what I did was I left room in it, and what I wanted to do is those guys are getting 30%, and I left another 20% so I could have a general manager or a sales manager, because when we scale this, to 10 universities, then we're going to have someone to manage those 10 guys. So that will be another, that will be another thing. So basically my business model will be, I'll be collecting like $7,500 per month per location that we do it. And the great thing about this is it isn't just universities. You can think about hospital complexes. You could think about the allied health professions where nurses go to school. When you really start to think about it and look at it and brainstorm, it's not just universities. It's a whole bunch of places, and it's really how big do you want to get? How hard, do you want to work to get this set up right away? And then sit back and collect the residuals.
It's genius. Now, let me ask you another question, which is, so far, like in a month, about how many students opt in to your database?
We at both universities, we have about 500 at one and a little over 600 at another.
Okay.
And what I did is, the way I set this up is when we sold it to the customer, it's set up where this. At 1,000, when the list reaches 1,000, then it will go up, because our text messaging service, goes up per number of texts we send. So, so it's going to be on a scalable thing where that 300 a month is good to 1,000, list, 1,000 opt-ins, and then, we'll do something scaled at 1,200, 1,400, 1,600, where we charge, a nominal amount just to cover the cost of the texting service.
Okay. Genius. That's really cool. Now, the other thing is, you're the one who owns the database, so you could basically start promoting other products and services to these kids, or even follow them out of college if you have a long-term vision as well. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. What I'm actually doing is putting together a little leadership program, and that's going to be my target, to market the leadership program to those guys.
It's really, really remarkable. Now, something else that we talked about right before I brought you on camera here is, again, the reason and the way you found out about me and you found out about Traffic Geyser was you got one of the Money Masters interviews where Tony Robbins interviewed me, and clearly you came in, you ended up getting one of our products. You got Main Street Marketing Machines, and you're a guy who implements, so you got some results. You ended up becoming one of our heroes. We brought you in to to tell your story. But now what's happened is when you started, because you had a background in construction, you started working with people in the construction market because you understood that niche, you were able to speak the language, you had connections in there, and people knew your character. They were willing to do business with you because they liked who you were and knew you stood for something, right?
Absolutely, that's correct.
Okay, so now what happened is you just came back from another Tony Robbins event, and there you've, of course, gotten to know a lot of people inside, and there's a lot of author, expert speakers, people who are developing their own platforms, which anyone who doesn't know the definition of a platform, that just means in order to get, let's say, a book deal, to get a TV deal, to get recognized, you've got to build your persona. You have to. People need to know who you are, like you, trust you. You need to have a website, some sort of a database or list, and that's basically what you're starting to do. You're building another business using video marketing and mobile marketing. But why don't you talk a little bit about this new opportunity and what that's leading up to and how you're going to use Instant Customer to do this?
Okay, great. Yeah, it's been a couple of years since I've been in the Tony Robbins crew community, and there was a couple of guys that work for Robbins Research that know I use Money Masters, and that's how I got introduced from you. And they happened to see me at the Fusion launch, where you invited me to come and tell my story, and so that was kind of a big thing. And it's like I've become kind of a little hero in that space, doing my thing. And what that's evolved to is I told my story in front of the crew community last week at an event, and it was really nice. So the one of the guys over there, Michael Savage, he said that marketing was going to be contacting me, and they kind of think of me as their poster child for Money Masters, because I took it and implemented. And so they're thinking about a couple of different possibilities of maybe having a case study of me to show before they do the pitch for Money Masters, maybe putting me on the Tony Robbins website, where I can talk about getting Money Masters and meeting you, and how I went deeper with you for training, and things have evolved. So I mean, that's a great topic. It would be it would be great to have Jimmy Harding as featured on TonyRobbins.com, or any of that stuff would be just awesome opportunity.
Yeah.
And and I'm always available at the events to talk to people about Money Masters. But to get back to our point is I've been able to take this strategy and kind of model what you do on a smaller scale, where I could start building platforms for authors, speakers, and coaches. And it's interesting because there's a gentleman, Billy Brown, that was burned as an infant in a car wreck and left to die, and his mother actually forced the firemen to go and get him out of the fire. And it's 40-something years later, and he wrote a book, Rising from the Ashes, and how he reclaimed his life. And he's a crew member at Tony Robbins. So right now we're building him a platform, and we have something going virally. And when I was speaking to him on the phone last night, he told me how he's getting offers from different news stations, morning programs that want him to come on. Our outcome is to get him on the Today Show. And I'm like, well, this is great. We're going to set you up a campaign, and you're going to tell everyone, who you're in front of on TV or anywhere you go, to text your name and email to this number that I'm going to assign you. And, we're going to send them the first chapter of the book free, and then we're going to have a list to market your book to.
Very smart. Yeah, that's, that exact same strategy. We've been using that with David Bach, for example. We've used that strategy with Tony himself. There's been a number of celebrities, same exact thing. And the whole idea is, if you're speaking, you're presenting, or you're just meeting somewhere, create a quick campaign, text your name and email address, join the list, and get some sort of free stuff. But for him, his ability, if he could, say, do a couple of radio or TV shows, and you help him get that attention, if he can get a database built of 5,000 and 10,000 and 20,000 or 25,000 names, he can go in and get a book deal on the basis of having that database. And it all starts with just one contact. I mean, again, I think the big lesson here, anyone who's watching you will recognize immediately that you're an implementer. You don't just talk about it, you do it. And, you know, getting back to the original part of this, which is what you're doing at the university space, you had a vision, you put something together the first time around. How long did you spend just putting together your first campaign?
Well, everything was implemented and sold within 30 days.
Okay, so that's impressive. And to generate a residual income that is bringing you in the neighborhood of 7,500 to 10 grand a month, and you don't have to do the work, right?
Right, correct.
Okay, and if you do that 10 times, here you're looking at 75 grand a month in residual income, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, times 12, you're sitting on what very well could be almost a 7-figure a year business, or approximately.
Absolutely.
Those are great numbers. So I think I have enough for you. I'm sure we've got a bunch of people asking questions and chatting right now while we're playing this interview. But is there anything else that you want to add? Any other stories aside from the fact that, you know, Jimmy Harding is an implementer. You listen, you act, you do. You have the rewards now for implementing it. The fact that you've got a residual income and you're starting a business that's creating jobs and creating entrepreneurs. You know, you're not just a hero. You're not just an all-star. You know, what you're doing is you're escalating to the next level. And I think, you know, when you look at, you know, as a contributor, you know, you're really living a contribution-based lifestyle. And you also talked about how you're teaching people how to teach as well, which really gets into the next phase of what's possible. So I don't know if there's anything else that you have to add here, but I'm really, really proud of you, Jimmy.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. One quick thing that I'd like to mention is, you know, when at the Social Media Marketing Machines event, when I heard Brian Williams, one of the all-stars, say to, you know, create your own platform, and if you have to, start a meetup group. So when I came back, I started my own platform, and I started a meetup group. And, you know, it's a very different meetup group. There is no networking going on. It's all teaching, and I'm just teaching and teaching and teaching small business owners how they can use these tools to help themselves and their businesses. Well, anyway, when I named the meetup group, I optimized it, and so there was a company that was searching for mobile marketing in New Orleans, and they found me, and they're putting on an event December 5th. It's 2,000 people, a continuing education thing. And, you know, when you type in mobile marketing in New Orleans, I have probably 4 of the first results on Google. So they contacted me and, you know, asked me if I'd be willing to speak at their event, and they would pay me. And I said, well, I'd love to do that. And I said, but since it's a mobile marketing event, could we do a real-time exercise in mobile marketing? Can I ask everyone to email their name, to text their name and email address to my phone, to a phone number I give them, and they'll have my presentation so they won't have to take notes? And they said, absolutely. So, so then again, using the same strategy that I learned from you, I'm going to collect 2,000 people that I'm going to be able to follow up with and make an offer to.
Unbelievable. That is spectacular. And once again, I can't tell you how proud of you I am. And I'm going to just repeat what you just told me, because this is awesome. So you're going to go speak, you're going to get paid, and you're going to be able to collect all the contact information from everyone in a room. And what I know after doing this, when you say to everyone there, look, when you text your name and email address, you get my entire presentation absolutely free of charge, you're going to get between 60 to 85% of that room to text their name and email address. And if what you do is not only deliver the presentation on the first day, but in the PS line say, hey, tomorrow I'm going to send you a special bonus, an advanced lesson that I put together that'll show you how you can use mobile marketing to get more customers, get more leads, connect with them, and sell more products and services. It's just another bonus. Thanks again for watching me. If you just make a little video, just right out of your webcam like you're doing right now, introducing this and have them do another test, maybe you could do a little survey using Instant Customer to do that, but you're going to be able to deliver a sales presentation to them and say, not only am I doing this with you right now, but you can do it with your customers. Imagine being able to collect leads and sell automatically, hands-free. You're in an unbelievable position to close. I mean, that could be worth $1 million worth of business right there, and you can do it all by setting up a little mini campaign ahead of time.
That's awesome.
It's incredible. So, well, here's the deal. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jimmy, for just you being you and being a great lesson and being not just a hero, not just an all-star, but you're escalating, you're creating a community, and you're doing what I think is most important by creating jobs and creating more entrepreneurs, but also when you're teaching as well, and you're teaching people to teach. This is the fastest way to really transform the planet and transform the way people think. So congratulations and good luck in everything you do.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure, Mike.
All right. Well, let's bring this to a head, and thanks again. I hope everyone who's watching right now is sending some chats, asking some questions, and we'll make sure to follow up and follow through. But this is Jimmy Harding from New Orleans, and he's a man who's on his way, literally building himself a 7-figure empire. And how long is it taking you to get there?
Right now, I think it's a little under 18 months. It was April of 2010 when Main Street 1 launched. And just a quick little side note, if you have 2 minutes.
Yep.
I can tell you that you don't have to be, your technical aptitude has nothing to do with earning money. It literally took me 4 hours to get Skype set up on a computer today. I've never used Skype, yet it took me a couple of hours and 30 days to set up a campaign that's creating, $18,000 per month. So, technical ability has nothing to do with using these tools.
Unbelievable. You are an amazing guy, Jimmy. So, well, thanks a million for being you and participating, and I'm just proud to have you as part of our community.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Okay, see you later, Jimmy.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.